Hi, good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us, especially on such late notice. My name is Kate Wallace. I'm the Association Manager for CALSAGA. Today, we're going to have with us David Chandler, who is CALSAGA's president. We're also going to have Mike Smith, who's on the CALSAGA Executive Committee, and also who is the COO for Allied Universal. Before we get started, I just want to do a brief housekeeping to let you know that if you have questions, and based on the registrations, I imagine that you do, you can feel free to put those questions in the Q&A. Oh, somebody has already put a question in the Q&A. Thank you, Jamie. So you can feel free to put your questions in the Q&A. Hopefully, we are going to answer all of those. Something I'd like to do, I'd like to start with this, David, is I know that all of our members are busy, they're operating their businesses, and for the person who maybe has heard the term SB 1203 mentioned many times, but they don't know exactly what it is. Could you give a brief overview, David, of what SB 1203 will do and what it will mean for their businesses?
Absolutely. Thank you for all of you coming into this webinar today. I think it's extremely important. That's why Kate and I were talking about it over the last few days. I spent the last few days up in Sacramento talking with our lobbyist firm, talking with our media company that we've hired to help us with this. 1203 is absolutely the worst legislation I have seen come out of the security industry at all, or affecting the security industry at all. Everybody back in 2004, when the law changed and we came up with 2880 training for the security officers, that was devastating at the time. Um, I'm not gonna pull any punches with you. This 1203, if it goes through as it's written today, is going to be devastating to the industry. And I'm going to give you a couple of high points. I asked Mike to be on the call with me because Mike is a much smarter guy than I am, but and I'll need as much help as I can. The number one thing I want to tell you about 1203 is it's driven by SEIU, the union in California. It's funded by SEIU National with $1 million for this campaign in California to get this bill passed. $1 million they spent nationally. Not telling you what they spent. I don't know what they spent in California so far, but believe me, they're spending some money. They've got vehicles driving up and down in Sacramento with poster boards on the side of them, and Kate's got some pictures we'll put up later on and show you. They brought up to the last hearing, they brought up 60 members and indicated they were all security officers in purple shirts to say that this is a positive bill, that everybody wants it. And I will tell you some of the highlights of this bill, but Mike's only going to be able to be with us for a little while, and I wanted Mike to share the costs that this is going to cost. We figured that, Mike, and correct me if I'm wrong, this will cost the industry in California over $2 billion. Do you agree with that?
Correct. It's roughly estimated at $2 billion annually.
So some of the things that the 1203 is wanting to do is the union wants to, number one, raise training standards by making it mandatory to go through a de-escalation class. They want an 8-hour de-escalation instructor in the room class for every security officer in California. That's what they want. That's what they're preaching in Sacramento, at least right now. The problem is they don't want this taught by any licensee. No PPOs, no training facilities, nobody. They want an outside organization doing it, preferably a labor organization, which they don't have the capacity. These facilities haven't even been invented yet. They're not around. So that's one aspect. They want to raise the minimum wage for security officers to be at least, I'm going to guess $4 an hour. Mike, we figured it out as what 365 is what we came out with as a hardcore number.
Yeah, but well, Dave, the 365 per hour is purely that $2 billion
Um,
cost, and part of that $2 billion cost was referenced at most of it was the training cost to send people to the outside agencies, right? So the outside agencies was for everything related to BSIS training. So none of the training could be done on the job. None of the first 16 hours in 30 days could be done on the job. It has to go to an outside training agencies. None of the 16 hours within the first 6 months could be done on the job or in our offices. It had to go to an outside training agency. And then the annual training on top of that could not be done on the job or in our offices. It has to go to an outside training agency. So all of that totaled up to roughly around $1.25 billion. The extra 750 billion was based off of a $1 an hour pay increase. So for every dollar an hour, and Dave, to your point, if the union's successful through the IWC of a $2 to $4 an hour pay rate, every dollar is the equivalent of $750 million. So if you figure all the outside training plus the training agency's cost, the wages we have to pay, and the dollar an hour increase, that's $2 billion. And based off of the estimated hours per week available in California, it's the equivalent of 365 an hour just in the training cost alone.
And we've had discussions with the union. I had a phone call with them earlier today, and I reminded them that, this is going to be devastating to the security industry. It's going to, aside from the fact, if you did send people out for training, which we're fighting to stop, but if you did send people out for training, they're not going to accept the liability for the training that they're giving. So when they come back to you, you're going to have to retrain them to follow all your rules and company policies to make sure they don't incur any extra liability. But they're not going to accept any liability, which means the lawsuits are going to come to you anyhow, which it's absurd to me. The other thing I want to mention to you is because I've had discussions with the Bureau about this, and the Bureau is, of course, and we're all for training. We've got no problem with training. Just somebody has to pay for it. That's the bottom line. But the Bureau said we're not, like, they asked for the Bureau to do or they're going to ask the Bureau to do a market analysis to see if 560 training facilities in California could handle all this extra training going on. And the Bureau's position is, okay, that's not the business that we're in, but if you're going to ask us to do this, we're going to have to charge for this. Now, whether you know it or not, the Bureau does not get any money from the California General Fund. It's all from this industry. It's all from the security industry, locksmith, alarm companies, PIs, and no offense to any of those guys, but they don't have the numbers that we have in security. So it's gonna affect us more than anything else. I was telling people in my conversations, I said, well, the guard card will go from $60, what it is currently today, to about $250. And I'm going to tell you right now, I had a discussion with the Bureau a week ago, and a very high individual at the Bureau told me, Dave, you're 100% wrong. It's not going to go up to 250. It's going to be at least 500, if not closer to 1,000. And I was floored. I'm like, how? How is this even possible? Where's the money going to come from, Dave? How are we going to get the money to be able to do the stuff that we're mandated by legislature to do? And I was dumbfounded. I don't know what to say. So that's part of it. The big point about this also is in 1203, the union talks specifically about 2 hours of know your employee rights that they want to teach. And whether you've dealt with unions or not, they're very good about bringing a 3x5 card and asking anybody if we could send you some information about the union. Just sign the card. We'll send you some information. Subsequently, on the back of the card in very small print, it says, we'd like you to represent us. So that's the way for the union to get in the door. The union is grabbing at everything they can get in California because they're losing a lot of union members. If you just want to talk about the motion picture industry in California, that has gone down tremendously over the last few years. They're shooting everything outside of California and overseas more than anything else. Newsom was just on TV yesterday or day before yesterday talking about a double tax incentive for filming in California. And he was up at some northern location, some northern California location, saying that this company was kind enough to film in California. But it's not inexpensive. And if you don't know anything about the union looks at, or how they get their dues is based on 3% of your income, not you, but the guard themselves. So if you've got, even if you say 300,000 guards in California, 3% of an income is just, it's a great opportunity for the union to get members.
You and I did the math this morning, David, and we came out that the union stands to gain an additional $450 million.
Unbelievable. And I get it. I get they want to be in business, and they talk about we're all for the employee. Well, I'm for the employee too. And I told the union, I said, look, I have not met one security company owner, and again, I'm speaking for you guys that are out there, not one owner that wouldn't want to pay his guards better than he's paying them today if he could get the money from the client. I haven't met one security company that says they wouldn't. Unfortunately, the clients don't want to pay the extra money. You, as a PPO, have to fight for every nickel you get, and it's a hard fight. And I know you're trying because I talk to a lot of you members on a regular basis, and it's hard. Picture this, getting harder. How are we going to fight it? Couple things. CalSAGA has employed a public relations firm, which was not cheap. We started there. We're looking at another avenue of bringing in a targeted political campaign, as such, a situation like that, where we're going to target Governor Newsom's office, some assembly members and some Senate members, and try to get the word out how this is a job killer by raising the rates of the security guard or the guard cards for security guards, including raising the renewal rates. And they don't even want to tell me what the renewal rates are going to be, from $44 today, and I don't even want to guess. The proposals we've got already from this couple firms now are in excess of $500,000. CalSAGA doesn't have that money. I am asking everybody I can ask. I'm having off conversations with Allied, Securitas, Garda, Prosegur, CSC, Intercon, all the big guys to see what we can get from them. But we're going to need help from everybody. I've never asked really for money before, other than for the foundation, which we appreciate. But I've never asked for money for any kind of a political program like we're doing now. But I don't see much option here. I don't see that this is going to go away. Matter of fact, they told me in a conversation this morning that they have to get some verbiage to the legislator in 12 days. And I'm like, how? You don't know what you're doing. You don't have any idea they have no idea what they're talking about. Um, we have to target the governor's office. I asked Kate the other day to get a letter or some type of a form that we can email out to all the PPOs that are members of CalSAGA, that you can give to your employees and ask them to email their legislators, their senators and assemblymen. We have a papers being printed up for us that you could give your clients and tell your clients, this is what's happening in California. We need your help to call your constituents, the client's constituents. Call anybody. I went to a lobby school when I first started with CalSAGA, and I learned two important things. A legislator wants two things. Number one is constituents to keep them in office. And number two is money. And that's exactly what I learned. We don't have the money to buy this campaign, or however you want to say it. But we do have the constituents to let the lawmakers know that we are a force to be reckoned with. We're not just somebody you can just step on and get your way and bully us into this. But we need your help. Kate's going to put a link on the site here in a little while that if you can donate to us, help us with this fight, and tell us, we'll direct all your money to the fight. I mean, I've got no problem with it. We've
Yeah.
tried to we've tried to build up CalSAGA as much as I could in the last 11 years I've been president. I think we've done a great job. We've gotten great advocacy in the BSIS. We've gotten some good legislation we stopped, but this one is a freight train, and it's coming, and it's a short period of time here that we can fight this thing. Mike, what am I missing?
Well,
Dave, I think. Oh, go ahead, Kate.
oh no, that's okay. I was going to jump in with some questions that attendees have, but if you have something to say, Mike, please go ahead.
Yeah, the one thing, and Dave, I took some notes down here, but I think the one thing is we talked about the outside training agencies. I think the one thing that we all need to understand is business owners and in the security businesses, this is going to create a scheduling nightmare, right? It's because now you're at the mercy of these outside training agencies. So not only is the $2 billion cost part of the wages and the training facilities cost, but now you have scheduling nightmares. So if Mike gets hired today by one of your organizations, you may not be able to get me in. You've got an opening at a job site. You're going to run non-billed overtime, and that 2 billion doesn't count those costs because we can't effectively determine what that cost is going to be. But you're now going to have a scheduling nightmare. And in the meantime, Mike needs a paycheck. So, but if you can't get me into training for 2, 3, 4 weeks, I got to have a paycheck because I have bills to pay. So I'm going to go find a job outside the industry. So when Dave talked about a job killer, it is really a job killer to people wanting to get into the security business. And that scheduling nightmare is even going to be a greater cost potentially than that $2 billion of current training and current training costs to outside agencies. So Kate, that's all I've got. Thank you.
I wanted to mention one more thing as I forgot about it. Also in 1203, it talks specifically about the Bureau starting to capture race and gender of members of the public that were involved in a physical altercation with a member of the public, or security officers involved with a physical altercation with a member of the public. Can you imagine if a security officer that is employed by you puts down on the incident report a gender or a race, and they said a parent race. So you're just asking your security officers to start guessing. What are the lawsuits are we going to get from there? I mean, it's bad enough we got PAGA, which is devastating as it is. Now we'll have other lawsuits based on de-escalation techniques, whether our guards use the correct de-escalation or not. We're going to have to retrain them again. So even whatever they learned, it's not going to matter. And then we've got to ask them to give us the race and gender of everybody involved in a physical altercation with a member of the public. This is I should have become an attorney. That's what they should have
So
done.
for clarification, David, there's several questions, both in the Q&A and when people registered about the implications. Am I correct in saying that the author of this bill, Smallwood Cuevas, they did not contact the BSIS leadership and discuss the potential implications prior to introducing this bill? Is that your
That's 100%
understanding?
correct. They have not, as of today, they have not spoken to the Bureau at all. And the Bureau is waiting. As a conversation I had this morning with the Bureau, they have not heard from the union. They heard a whisper that the union wants to talk to them. But I mean, my gosh, this bill's been in play for a couple months now already.
It was introduced in March. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And the author, who's Smallwood Cuevas, is a senator out of Los Angeles who factually used to work for the union. So if you do a public search on monies that she's collected, I looked up myself, I saw over $119,000 this year from SEIU. She is not going to go with anything we want. She makes comments about we are out there protecting the public. I've told the union we don't protect the public. We protect specific people and specific property.
Is the
Um,
BSIS able to take a position on this bill or they cannot?
They cannot take a position on it, but they can tell them how much it's going to cost. The Bureau has told me that this is going to cost the Bureau, if 1203 goes into effect the way it's written today, it's going to cost the Bureau upwards of $8 million. So how is the Bureau going to get $8 million? That's the big question for anything they do. So even if they say, okay, in talks with them, they're saying that we could push this out to 2030, but they're not writing it down. They're saying, okay, we talked about we need to do the training. We know what we do for a living. We know our industry better than anybody else. And they say we hear you, but we're not stopping. I mean, It's extremely bad. It's
So there,
extremely
there
bad.
have not been any studies or estimates on the loss of job potential, but one thing that we have, I don't know if we've talked about it here in this format, but our team has talked about is what happened with the fast food industry. And so on our, I hope everybody has seen the CalSAGA fact sheet on SB 1203, and I will resend it to you after this call. But UC Santa Cruz, they did a study that has shown that after the fast food industry had the union become involved and the legislation from last year, 2 years ago,
23, I think.
23. So that resulted in fewer jobs and increased technology. You're ordering from a kiosk instead of a live person. But as far as estimates of, I mean, it seems it's our impression, right? That that's not something that the author of this bill has even taken into consideration. Is that your understanding?
Oh no, I've mentioned it before. I told them we're not in the business where we sell a hamburger, but the hamburger would go up. But they don't care. That's the bottom line. They want membership. They want union members. They want to talk to every employee in the state of California, every security officer in the state of California, and be represented by the union. And I'm sorry, I have a problem with that. You know,
So just to reiterate, this bill, if it passes the way it's written currently, it would require the employers to pay for the training,
right?
and it would increase both the initial training and the continuing education. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, and no, because the way the bill's written, yes, we've had talks with them about, just setting 8 hours versus, they want to build it up for. Originally they wanted 8 hours in the front, they wanted 8 hours in the back, and they wanted another 2 hours in the middle. So, well, they want the 2 hours so they can talk to the employee about their rights in the first 30 days. So, I mean, it's every conversation that we've had with them, I've had with them, our lobbyist has had with them. They talk a good game, but they don't put anything in writing. They don't. They won't put it down, so we can factually argue it. And they've got till the 21st to go back to the author, and the assembly comes back in after the 1st of August, and it's going to appropriations. Appropriations is going to ask the Bureau to put in like a request for what this is going to cost, which I think is going to be tremendous. And again, even if the Bureau puts in it costs, say it costs $100, right? Which is not. But say it costs $100. The Bureau's going to get $100 from somebody. They don't have $100 just sitting around. Everything's budgeted at the Bureau, and they're short-staffed too. So they're trying to get employees up at the Bureau as this whole entire industry. It's just this is a devastating bill that I've never seen it. And again, Mike's been in more of these talks back east than I have, but wasn't it start out in New York, New Jersey area, Mike? Then went to Baltimore, then went to Washington State,
Philadelphia. And
Philadelphia.
then it went to Washington, where as in the Pacific Northwest, and it got shot down at least up there.
Yeah. But then their position now is if they can get California to buy it, then they can push it across the entire country. So this is just the beginning.
Okay.
Anything else, Mike? You want to take some questions? I know you're short
No,
on time.
I think let Kate go through the questions, and
Cool.
unfortunately, I've got to drop in about 5 minutes. So sorry.
We've been going through the questions as we go on, and you guys have answered some of them. But so there's a question about if a company doesn't hire an officer until they already have their guard card, their firearms permit, and their initial 40 hours, are they still responsible to pay for the training? What do the logistics look like on that?
Well, again, it said in the bill itself, it said that the private patrol operator was responsible for paying for the training for an employee or an employee with um, an offer of employment, which doesn't make sense to me because he's not an employee until he accepts the offer of employment.
Yeah,
Initial offer
I
of
think
employment.
Kate. Yeah, yeah. From my end, I think that the key to that is if they come with the credentials, they come with the training already. But then you have to do the outside training, and again, you have to use an outside agency. and potentially that annual training could double, but you have to use the outside agency, so you have to pull them from post. You can't bring them into your office to train. You can't. None of us can do the training on any of the initial training or the continuous training. So that's if they come in with the credentials, then it's all on your annual training that you're going to have to pay for an outside agency. And again, you're losing control of what they're actually being trained on, but yet you have the liability for it.
Okay. We do have questions asking about when the next hearing will be. So my understanding is that the assembly members at this point are probably in their district offices because they're on recess at this point. Do we know, David, when the next hearing date will
We know
be?
it. We know it's going to be. No, we don't know the exact date
Okay.
yet, but it's going to go to Appropriations Committee. Should be the first week of August. Should be the first week of August, but we don't have a date yet
Okay.
because it's not set in stone. But as soon as we get it, we're happy to entertain it. I'm just not. When I went up and spoke in front of the Business Professions Committee at the Assembly, Mark Miller went up and spoke at the public safety thing, and it was brutal. The union brought in, I mean, we had what, 10, 12 companies come up to Sacramento for the BMP committee, and then, but the union busses them up, puts them all in purple t-shirts, and most of them couldn't speak English, which is fine. But in a conversation with the bureau chief, she asked me, how did they pass the guard card class? I'm not really sure how that
Because
worked
the
out.
guard card
Is
class
a is
materials and
100%
the
English.
exam are only in English.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's going to be this is going to be a fight, and again, it's going to come down to whatever the bureau is directed to do. They're going to have to get money for it, and the fees are going to go up. And the bureau is not happy about this at all. They're not
Okay.
happy about it at all, but they can't weigh in.
Okay. So we're getting specific questions about how much money CalSAGA needs. We did have a proposal meeting this week that the three of us were in. We received a proposal. Are you prepared to share the dollar amount that was on that proposal?
Um, yeah, so you're looking at about $500,000. $500,000 for this campaign. Now, that's not including the media company that we've already done. CalSAG has given a bunch of money to this already. Again, I told you I'm talking to Mike. We're in negotiations trying to get
But that
some.
$500,000 does not include what CalSAGA has already given.
No, no.
This is a new proposal.
Yeah, new proposal. So I hate asking the membership for it, but we just don't have the money. Mike's been very generous and he's going to entertain some conversations with us, and he's talking to people higher than him. Securitas is in negotiations right now. Garda, we're all trying to get money from everybody, but it's going to take the little guys to pony up too. As you know, or maybe you don't know, there are 3,000 licensed companies in the state of California. We have 400 member companies in CalSAGA. We're reaching out. I'm reaching out to everybody, even a couple of big ones that aren't in CalSAGA members, which I don't know why, but we're trying to sell them our membership too. It's going to be a fight, and I I got to get to that. I got to get to that $500,000 mark as soon as possible. And to be honest with you, we've only got a couple weeks to do it. So it's this is a now. This is a now ask,
So
and
let's go
whatever they can afford. That's the bottom line.
let's go through the practical steps of what people can do. We've said that we need funds.
Right.
Ideal in a perfect world, we would love, this is hard for me to say. In a perfect world, we would love to see every company give $1,000. Now, not and David is making the hard asks. He is having those conversations with the larger companies for more than $1,000. But we do need an additional $500,000. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, David, but
No, no,
you're
you're
willing
you're
to
you're
find
absolutely
the
right.
money in CalSAGA's budget to put up some of that. But candidly, as a nonprofit, CalSAGA doesn't have $500,000 towards this
No.
effort. Um, so we need financial contributions. So what we will do is following this call, I'm going to send you an email that has all these links that I'm referencing. So it will include the link to make a contribution online. Time is of the essence, but if you want to mail a check, we will accept your check, especially if you can let us know that it's coming. So I will share that information with you following this call. Another thing that we need you to do is the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? We need to be very squeaky right now. So we need you to continue reaching out to your assembly members. Most of them are probably in their district offices at this point. When we spoke to you on June 9th, the direction we gave was please call them in their Sacramento office. You can still make those calls, send those emails, but yes, probably they're in their district offices right now because the legislature's on a break. You can find the phone number for all of their offices. We have a link where you can find your assembly members' contact information. So I will send that to you as well. We want to make this as easy for you as possible. So we have a lawmaker outreach guide. We have a fact sheet. Additionally, David mentioned that we have asked our hired public affairs team to make two additional documents for us. We want to have a fact sheet that you can share with your clients. Hopefully, we can get your clients involved in this as well, because this is going to make your bill rates go up. And some may decide to cut out the expenditure of security altogether, and then that's a public safety issue. So we have a fact sheet that is being drafted that you can give to your clients and you can share with them. We also have um, the we're having her draft a fact sheet for us that you can share with your officers. So share it with them, ask them to reach out to their assembly members, and we will.
Assembly members or senators also, because if they make any amendments, it's going to have to go back to the Senate again. So don't give up on senators also.
Okay, got it.
Senators and assemblymen, whoever you can get. And as this goes on, as this is going to keep rolling, because they indicate it's not going to stop, we may have to ask everybody to call the governor's office, email the governor's office. I know it's hard to make a phone call and tell them no. The websites are very easy at the Assembly and the Senator's offices. You can email them. They want your name. They want your address to make sure you're a constituent. And they'll ask you, are you voting yes or no in favor of a bill? And you just put no on 1203, SB 1203. And we'll have these fact sheets available for you.
Yes, we'll send all of this information to you in an email. Some of you are asking logistics questions that I don't think have been sorted out. As far as what if an officer works for two companies, who's going to be responsible for paying for his training?
Yeah, good question.
That is a good question.
Nobody knows.
You are asking questions that it would have been good for the author to take into consideration before the bill was submitted. Um,
But the author's office didn't ask anybody about the bill. They didn't ask any, they just submitted the bill, and that's what they want to do. The union wants to get in front of every security officer in California and represent every security officer in California. That's the bottom line.
yes.
So we just have to try to stop it.
There's a question about whether BOMA has been approached. Yes, BOMA has been approached. They are on record as opposing the bill. Um, Our lobbyist has spoken with their lobbyist as well. So yes, we will provide you all of this all of this action information, and we will let you know when the next hearing is, but it will for sure be in August as the
Right.
legislature is on recess. So right now, what our immediate asks are financial contributions and just being very, very loud. Just lots of calls, lots of emails, because all of those are documented when you call your legislature's office. There is a clarification question about what does an outside agency for training mean? So this is a new entity. Oh, I'm sorry, David. I was
No,
going
go
to
ahead. No, it's a new end that hasn't been identified yet.
right.
That's the problem. The labor industry wants it to be a labor organization, which we told them labor doesn't know anything about the security industry, and they don't know what they're talking about. And I've told them that to their face. But they haven't decided. We're trying to get them to we're trying to get them to at least go with training, already training facilities that are in existence. There's 560 of them in California, and see if they'll do that. Otherwise, they're going to look for a labor organization that can open up and they can get the money from the training too. That's what they're looking for.
Okay. All right. I want to very quickly just to show how easy it is to find your legislators' contact information. Let me see if I can here we go. I'm going to share my screen so that I can show how to do this. David, is that okay? Can we find
Absolutely. Find Greg Wallace.
okay.
He's my guy out here.
He is. All right. One second.
Which he's tired of me talking to him about it. But he's voting no for it. But he's outweighed.
Okay. So, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is on our website. If you go to our website, right on the front, well, right now there's a banner about this call, but after this call, we'll replace it with a banner that says view all the updates on SB 1203. So you can see it in this list. I'm also going to send it to you. I'll just back up and show you. You can see it right here is what the page looks like. We have our fact sheet, our lawmaker outreach guide, the letter that was originally sent in March with CalSAGA's opposition. You have all the updates. So, and I will send this to you via email. How to find your assembly member. So, David, can you give me your zip code, please?
92211.
I think I might have to put your whole. All right, there we go. All right, let's make this bigger. So right there, Greg Wallace is your assembly member, and it gives you his capital office phone number. It gives you his district office phone number. You can call both of them, but theoretically, they are all back in their district offices right now.
Right.
You can
Hit
click
con
this.
hit contact. So you can fill out your first name, last name, address, phone number, email, and then select an issue. Go down and select an issue. And you can say support a bill, oppose a bill. So I put oppose a bill, then I write down in the comments, oppose SB 1203.
Got
It's
it.
that simple.
So for clarification, is it okay to call and do the contact form, send an email like
100%.
this?
They all every time you write an email to any assemblyman or senator, they have to keep a copy of it and they have to notify the actual member. So whether they get 100 emails saying there's 100 people saying no, there's I don't know anybody other than the union saying yes, and they're not the majority in California at this moment.
Right.
So
The opposition
more,
list is very long and the
yeah,
support list is very short.
very small, exactly. So anything we can do.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like our questions have slowed down a little bit. Yes. So if you could provide a boilerplate comment, yes, we do have that on the lawmaker outreach guide. We have all of that for you. We have a script for you. If you don't feel comfortable making the call, I do encourage you to go back and watch the recording of the June 9th member call that we did because our media specialist, Nicole Evans, did a session on how to reach out to your legislator's office. And so hopefully that will help you to feel comfortable. I know this seems silly, but you can also practice in the mirror before you make the call. Maybe have that in front of you. Write down some notes. Several of you have said things in the Q&A section that would be perfect to mention to your legislator. Garrett mentioned the issues that he has with unlicensed activity in his area. Please mention that to your legislator. All of the things that are going to affect you personally are very important to mention in your call.
And just to make sure everybody understands, if this bill goes through as it's written, it's going to be a job killer. It is going to be devastating to every security company out in California trying to get more work. Usually it comes down to janitorial staff and security, neither of which are revenue producing. And when a client looks at what it's going to cost, does a client really want to empty their own trash? So security is usually the first one to go or cut back. Or they're going to look at electronics, or they're going to look at, like I go into McDonald's now, I have to go to a kiosk instead of talking to a person anymore. So you'll get an intercom you can talk to in order to get into a building. This is going to be devastating to the industry itself, and it's going to cause a tremendous amount of underground companies. They're going to start calling guards ambassadors or ushers or concierges or something like that and try to skirt the law. But even right now, I was watching a news article last night on TV regarding Los Angeles Police Department covering the Olympics, and this law goes into effect, I think, right 12 days before the Olympics start in California. So, I mean, what a better time to do this than now? I mean, that's the union's position, and they're going to try to hold it over our head and force their way in, and it's terrible, and it's got me very upset. So again, I appreciate everybody's time. I don't want to belabor this any more than I have to. But we need your help. We need your help. Contact your assemblyman, contact your senator, contact the governor's office too. I'm fine with that now. As more things progress, if it does progress, we may reach out and say, please call the governor's office and we'll give you the information. We'll make fact sheets available for you. Even if you don't want to talk to them, send them an email, send them the contact information like we just did for my assembly person. It's easy, takes a second of your time. But you are a constituent. You do have a voice, and every guard who works for you has a voice. So we need help. We truly, honestly need help. Please help us.
Okay. All right. Well, thank
Any other
you.
questions? Or we're done, Kate.
We have some logistics questions. I think that there are things that we're still needing to get figured out, right? As far
Yeah.
as like how will this affect training facilities?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. If the training facility is even approved, you're gonna have to go through a whole thing again to show that you have evidence-based de-escalation training. That's it's a nightmare. If you've got some downtime and you have nothing else to do, look up SB 1203. It's about a 27 to 30 page document, and good luck because I've read it numerous times and it's just extremely depressing and I don't want to read it anymore. But there's a lot of stuff they're putting in there, and they're confident, the union is confident it's going to get passed because they have enough money in California to sway the vote.
Yes.
Tough to say.
Just to recap what the questions are in the comments. Yes, we're having right now a fact sheet developed for you to give to your clients. We hope to be able to have that by the end of the week. So yes, we will have something that you can give to your clients to be able to communicate to them how this is going to affect not only you, but them. Okay. The estimated increase for the rate of pay for officers is $3.65 per hour, David.
That's what it's going to cost you to put these guys through training at the minimum. That's not including what the union is going to try to get opened up, which is the IWC, the Industrial Wage Commission, which hasn't been open since 2004. So they're going to try. The union is also going to try to get the governor's office to open up that and set a minimum wage for security. And they're already talking preliminary $4 an hour. So if the minimum wage today, and I know it changed July 1st, but I was out of town. I think we're at 16.90. We may be at 17 something right now. I'd have to look it up and I apologize for not knowing it. But just add $4 on top of that. For $4 on top of 17. Now we're at $21. So that would be the projected, if I'm going to make an educated guess. I think they're going to try to come in at $4 higher than what it is currently.
Okay. So when you reach out to your legislator, just to recap, I think we are beyond the point of amendments, right? We have suggested amendments have been suggested and the author's not open to that. Is that
Well,
fair to
no,
say?
the author said publicly on camera to both committee chair and the business professions and the public safety that she is entertaining amendments,
But
but she hasn't
that's
put
not
anything in
accurate.
writing.
Right.
Nothing's in writing.
And we
And
have suggested amendments.
a tremendous amount. We've
Yes.
suggested killing the whole bill, which they absolutely disagree with. We've tried to I've tried to cut everything out of this one piece at a time, and they won't let it cut anything. They say they're listening to us, but they're just not doing anything. That's the problem.
So the
So
what we
what it is what I'm sorry, Kate. What it is they're doing like they do in every other legislative session. They're going to wait till the last minute before they have to do something, change it in the absolute last minute, then they're going to try to push it through.
so what we are asking you to ask your legislator is to vote no on it. At this point, that's the only way.
Just no,
Just yes, we're asking them to vote no.
100%. And good luck.
Okay. Um, Last question, and I know we want to wrap it up to respect everyone's time. Has the governor made comment on this? And this was not part of the question, but I'll just throw it in there. What's CalSAGA doing to target messaging specifically to the governor?
Well, that's the campaign we're talking about. So it's going to target the legislature, the Assembly Appropriations Committee. We're going to target the BMP committee again at the Senate. We're targeting the BMP committee again at the Assembly because there's no amendments made, and she made a public statement saying that she was entertaining amendments, but nothing's come in first. So yes, we're targeting everybody we can. That's why the need for this money. We have got to push as hard as we can and go after everybody, to be honest.
Okay. All right. So to recap, if you can make a financial contribution,
Please.
it. Whether or not you can make a financial contribution, please reach out to your assembly member and your senator. Please be a squeaky wheel. Reach out via phone, reach out via email, or via the contact form on their website. Please communicate this information to your clients and your officers. And I will follow up with you. I will send you today everything that we already have developed that you can utilize. And then as soon as we get the fact sheet for your clients and the fact sheet for your officers, I will send that to you as well.
And if you want to shoot me an email, I'm happy to entertain emails, david@calsaga.org. My wife prefers you don't call me after 8 o'clock at night, but I've talked to everybody. I've talked to a lot of members, and I tell them the same thing we told you guys today. We're just trying to keep you informed, but there's a lot we don't know because they're not communicating with us. So thank you for taking the time to listen to us, um, and we need your help.
Okay. All right. Thank you, all of you, for joining us today. Thank you for how you prioritize our industry, and thank you for your support of CalSAGA. And we will keep doing what we can to support and to represent you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.